So I did have a presentation that I usually do, and I go into a live demo. But I don't know if you guys experienced this, but Cloudflare was having issues, so I couldn't get into my Canva for my presentation. And
Yes, absolutely.
right?
Yeah, just I was
Okay.
on BoldTrail and I'm like, what? I restarted my computer. I'm like, what
I
is going
know.
on?
I know. And I had some stats from Copilot and which was in my presentation. And because I don't have my presentation, so I was like, oh, well, let me go into ChatGPT or Copilot and get some stuff that I can review with you guys, and it's all down. So
Yep.
bear with me. I'm just gonna go over some of the things that I remembered. But it is going to be the very basic of getting a Facebook business page done and Google My Business. And actually, it's fairly simple. I just haven't done it in a really long time. But it is, I'm going to go over why it's important for you to do that. Now, the thing about business Facebook, if you have a personal page, Facebook is still very much widely used. And I would say the demographics of people that are on Facebook are probably people who are selling, okay? And maybe not as much buying. Maybe the buying would be a little bit younger and they might go to Instagram. But I would say Facebook, it still has a lot of people that are on it that are a little bit older and that are, that you want to target. Um, I do think that it's important to get on the Instagram boat and the TikTok. So I just downloaded it, the TikTok, and it's very confusing. So it's on my to-do to learn, and we always have to grow and learn. So that's going to be very important for you. Facebook business page is going to be important because if you just have a personal page, you can't really do targeted ads. Okay. Because personal page is technically for personal page. Business page, however, you can do targeted ads. You can see insights. You can see what people are looking at if you are posting. So, but the hard thing about Facebook business page is it doesn't get a lot of views or likes or follow because Facebook has done it to protect the consumer, the regular consumer, so that they're not being bombarded with all of these ads and targeted messages from businesses. But it's their way to get money so that we can start doing that targeted ads. But it is important for you to get that done because we will have it linked to your Bold Trail, and we do have a system that will automatically post things for you, and it's awesome. But you should have a personal business. I mean, you should have a business page because you are your own business, right? And that's your business, and every business really should have a website, a business page, and Google My Business. And so Google My Business also is fairly simple. You don't even have to actually pay for Google My Business. It's actually free, and you can actually post things up. And if it gets a lot of hits or if it gets a lot of people looking at it, it will generally Google will pick that up and kind of push it up into the list. But usually, I would say I don't. I'm not that familiar with everything that Google. I think it's very powerful, but here's what you have to do. You just have to create it. Create it. And then number two, collect reviews. Okay. Because that is what people are searching up. Okay. For instance, if you are looking up a restaurant or some type of business, you are going to see if they have a website. I was looking for a travel agency in my area and I got a list in Google. And if they don't have a website, I'm just not going to use them because I want to go to their website. I want to see if they have any posts about what kind of trips they were offering, deals, where they went, what their reviews are. I'm looking at the Google My Business page and see what kind of reviews they've had. And we all do it for restaurants. We all do it for certain types of business. So you are your business. Again, why not? And I do have people who started it and they've maybe collected 5 Google reviews. and you've had it for a while. Now, if you just started it, that's understandable, right? You're just starting, to establish your online presence and the reviews. But if you had it for a while and, it's going to be important that you get those and you collect those reviews and put them on there. Okay. So those are the things that I'm going to go over to really establish that you are a credible business, to collect reviews, okay, because that is what people are looking at. Now, if you have business from referrals, I think people usually know you and like you already, and so they may most likely go with you. But if you got somebody and it's not even someone close, let's say it was a referral of a friend of a friend, and they are interviewing three other people, then they are going to search you up. They are going to look for you. And if your online presence is not there, then it is harder. Also, I had an agent who had a listing. She's not on Facebook that much. And she's like, was very excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a new listing and I'm gonna put it all over social media. But guess what? Because she was not interacting with anybody in social media, she thinks that when she puts this new listing up there, that everyone's gonna see it, but it's not because she's never interacted with people. So it's not gonna get on anyone's feed because she had limited interaction. But if, for instance, if you interact a lot with your sister or your brother or your kid, and you're liking and commenting, then those are the people that you have feeds coming into your main feed, right? So as you are building your business page and even your personal page, you are, as a homework, every single day going into social media and like and comment and and have some interaction with people, because that's going to be important. When you put out stuff, it'll go on their feed, and they will be like, oh, she liked my stuff, or she commented on I'm gonna like her stuff. And that becomes more, widespread. And that's how people can see more of your posts. So, do that as part of your prospecting. If there's birthdays, we get notifications, say happy birthday, have a great day, or, just really just be more active in it and make that a kind of like a homework for yourself, so that when you do have listings and when you are putting things up there, that it's getting on people's feed. All right, so I'm gonna go into the demo. Before I do that, does anybody have any questions? To go on the Facebook, you do have to go on your main personal page. Okay. And so when you do that, let's say this is my personal page. Okay. Right here on the right side or upper right hand is your account, your picture, and then you'll see all the pages that you have under you. Okay. Now you're going to see all profile, and then you go to the bottom, and then you're going to create a new profile, and then you're going to make it public, and then do next. And then they kind of tell you, get started. All right, so this is really the very basic. I would say kind of make sure you know what you're going to name your page, because I actually did my page when I was doing a lot of training, and it was called Teach Me Mary. And I changed it to Mary Pack Realtor, but I realized that the actual link, it still says Teach Me Mary. So you are going to, name your page and just say, let's say Mary Realtor. All right. And then they do ask for the categories. So you're going to do real estate, and you could do real estate agent, real estate company, but you're going to do real estate agent. Okay. Or just maybe real estate. And the bio is optional, but again, you should have a bio. And if you do have a hard time, this is where we kind of use AI and put in some of the things that you are good at, what you've done, how long you've been in business, what your passion is, and have that, AI created and put and personalize it and copy it. Okay. The most important thing I believe for the bio is so that you have consistency. It should be really the same thing for your website, for Facebook, for Google My Business. It'll ask you about your services, although it'll have a list of services that you can put in. But I would put in that description, my bio, okay? Because they're looking for consistency all throughout all of these platforms, okay? I don't have one right now, so I have one on my actual page, but because it's optional, I'll just create the page. And that's really what you need to actually create it, okay? Oh, so I do have one, so they won't allow that move. I wanted this to be my tagline. Move with Mary. Let's see if it let me do that. So if someone has that same name, they won't allow it. So let's see, it's spinning. Okay. So again, your website needs to be there and you should have that whole hyperlink on there. So let's say this is my website. I usually have it ready. Sorry, guys. We sell New Jersey.com. Here we go. I'm going to copy. Then you put that on there. Okay. And the phone number, your email. Okay. Location, I would put not my home address, but let's say your office address. Okay. Okay. Again, I would do the hours. Right now, I'm just gonna say always open, but they do, again, do feel like if it's always open, that it doesn't really feel like a legit business. So I will put some hours on there. And again, it should be consistent with your Facebook, your Google My Business, and the Google My Business is also going to ask you that, okay? And we're gonna do next. And then again, profile picture and then the cover picture. So everything really should be on there. And I just don't have it right now, but that's what you would put in. Okay. And it does tell you like how robust your, profile is. And then you invite your friends. So it invites the whole list of your friends to like and follow your page, and that will be a good start for you. And then it just gonna goes through, marketing promotional page, and then you just say next. So it does have something on here. You should go into every thing where you go into, let's say, settings, and then if you do page setup, you're gonna go through each one and make sure, hey, yes, this is what I want. And then go through each section to make sure you are covering who has access, the management, the status. You can actually have an admin go and manage your page as well and give them access and they can put stuff on there. Okay. But that's really, the gist of it. You should have everything on here. Let me just try to see if.
Mary, if you already have a professional page, how do you access this and make some of these additions and changes?
Yeah, so again, let's say if I'm here on this is the feed page where like your friends and people that interact with like feeds come up. Oh, I didn't change it. So let's say I'm here. Okay, so these are my feeds, right? And then I go right on the left side where it says Mary Pack. This is my personal page. This is like, I'm assuming this is your main page because this is how we started back in the day when we opened an account. And then right here in the upper right hand corner, and then you're gonna click on your picture and you're gonna go see all profiles. Now you will have some people, who maybe opened one up with one email and then create another profile with a different email, then it may not sync. Okay, so you'll see all of my profile, including the one that I just created. But let's say this is the one that is my professional profile. And you can see right here at the top what my name is. It's facebook.com/teachmemary, which was my first, business page because I was doing training then. Okay. And then you can see all the posts. So these are the posts that comes from BoldTrail. Okay. I didn't do it. This is a listing that I have. I don't have a whole lot of listings, but I think if you have a bunch of listings, it's great because people think that someone's doing that for you, right? And there's the Halloween that Bold Trail put out. Again, I pick the topics that I like. I do like decorations, DIY, sometimes mortgages, and also what it does is it also highlights um, properties and listings that are in our company or in our area or from our office. So even though it's not your listing, it does go on there. So this is not my listing, and then here they're like, oh, this one's already on the contract. So again, you're seeing that there are people who are interacting with it. I mean, I had somebody from a different company saying, hey, that information's not correct. It came from the MLS. It pulled from the MLS, but it surprised me because there are people who are looking at it, okay, and they think that I'm sure there are people who know, that we have a system that does it because maybe some other companies might have similar things, but your buyer, your seller may not, and they keep looking. And I'll tell you why people choose you as the realtor. They choose you because they'll choose the people that they like. So that's why some agents do like really funny things. Okay, trust. Okay, um, they trust when you trust an agent. So agents will say and will have videos of things that you can teach them, right? Things that they may not know, the major public may not know, and then they start building trust. And then people choose agents because they know them. Okay. And so you may have a lot of people that you're close with, but then you may have a bunch of friends that you're not that close to, but because they're seeing your feed and they're seeing you, they think that they know you. So they're more familiar. And that's really one of the reasons why we start doing the ads, because even though we don't know them, I'm like, oh, I heard of him. I heard of her. Like she's everywhere, and that's kind of the feeling that clients or people that you want as clients get. And that's why we do, some of these things, even though we don't want to do it, right? And so when you go here, you can change things like on the left side. You could also go to like insights. So if you go into meta, but before I do that, you go into settings, then you can see different things that you can do. Accessibility, notification, like do you get notification? Here's the same thing that I went over, like page setup. Okay. So that's the setting area. And if you want to change anything about that in your current page, that's where you go. But you can also see insights as to like who's interacted and, where the links coming from or what are people liking on. And let's see who the audience are. So no new followers. They'll tell you didn't get any new followers. But I'm not also actively doing anything here. But as an agent, you should be looking at those things. Okay. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So before I go into Google My Business, because Google My Business is actually very simple to set up, I'm gonna go here. This is the Bold Trail, and I don't want to leave it because of the outage. It might shut me out. But if you go into Bold Trail and on the left side, you see the marketing. That's where I went, and in the marketing, there's a social section. Coming in from a different company, when I started in January, this was great, but it wasn't that easy to get into. So give yourself some time and really go into it. And this is where it'll take you. It actually has this, but it also has a separate core listing machine too. So I think there's multiple things working here. But you go into settings and preference, and I don't have an X. profile, but here it only has Facebook, doesn't link to Instagram and LinkedIn. The reason why sometimes it doesn't do Instagram does not allow like links to come in your feed. So that's why you'll always see Instagram people saying, "Hey, go back to my profile and there's a link there," and but with Facebook, every post you can put links on there, okay? So you have to connect it, you have to know your password, and they ask you, can we, connect it? So you do have to do that. It does expire every, I'm gonna say like 3 months, and then they're gonna say, hey, you're gonna get notification it's expiring. And the way you kind of handle that is you make disconnect and reconnect, and then it has like a new date that expires. And so you can also choose the type of articles. You go into edit, and then there's a bunch that you can choose from. So you could do architecture, finance, and it tells you which days that you want to put it in. So if you want to do more, you can. If you don't, if you want to do less, then you could do less. Okay.
So this is BoldTrail that we're looking at right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty cool. So this is the place where I had a hard time in market listings. So um I so X is not connected, and it's not allowing content in LinkedIn. So I want to let it. And I get a lot of like views on LinkedIn. And then I get a notification saying, hey, you're on a roll. And I'm not on LinkedIn. I mean, I'm on LinkedIn, but I'm not like actively doing things. But that's why we work smarter, because we have these tools. But sometimes we don't know that we have these tools, and people don't use it. So I guess the LinkedIn was off, so I'm just gonna do save, and it'll go back to like posting things on there like articles. But in the in market, like if you have your listing, and again, it really starts also, I don't know if you guys were on my, profile, you have to have your BoldTrail profile all linked up. You do have to have IDX linked up. And for some of us in this area and GMLS, it does take a while. So just make sure you have that. Then it links up. When I didn't have that, nothing came up. I'm like, oh, I don't have anything. And so you'll see like also some kind of graphs and insights. So that's something that you can also look at as well. And so I just wanted to show you that it has that, right? So it's actually doing some of the work for you. So the last thing I'm going to go over is to Google My Business. And how do you do it? You Google My Business. So Google My Business. And you just go into start with Google My Business profile. Oops, there's something. I think these are more like sponsored. Wait. Oh, it does ask you to sign in. You do have to have it. Hold on, let me see if there's one. I guess I have to sign in.
Oh.
Okay, so this is mine, and the way you would access it is go into your Gmail, and you see this waffle, the 9 dots. You click on it, and you see this. This is like a storefront. That's where it's taking me, okay? And this is where you manage it. So that's where it took me, and I'll tell you, it still has my old address because when I moved over, I did change it. I asked before I left. I did ask for reviews, so and when I came, they did want to re-verify that I'm at this new location. And at that time, they made me do a video. And when I did the video, I didn't have keys to the office yet, and I didn't have my business card. But they make you verify, like they make you do a video, and you going in, and this is your desk. It's not letting me create it, but it does. It's very simple. You create it, you ask for the name, they tell you if you can use that name. Um, and then they ask you for services, your website, and just it's very really simple. And if you, I'm not an active agent so much, but if you did, like you would go into photos, and you would upload like photos of your listings, and come check this out. And when they do that, sometimes you try to use keywords like new listing, new home, in Closter or Fort Lee condo, because people, when you do Google, it's like SEOs, it's like searches, and they use, certain keywords, and your photo may pop up. And when it does that, again, more and more and more, Google starts recognizing you. More and more you have reviews, it starts saying, and ChatGPT will pick it up, and Copilot will pick it up, like, oh, she's a really good agent because she's got 100 Google reviews. Okay. But I just want you to get started. I know this is overwhelming and you're not going to get to 100 in a month, right? But I don't want you to forget it, because when we have a deal, when we close, or when we have a really good, connection with our clients, that's where really when you should, start asking for reviews. Okay. So write a review. So this is my reviews. And if you uh, do, I'll tell you, like, if you do this, they do sometimes will give you copy this link. And I know it comes up as me writing a review for me, but if that won't be it, it would be them. But they do have to have a Gmail. Okay. Like if you sent me a link, it'll be me. It won't, just because you're not writing the review for yourself. So you see this all the way on top, this whole long link, you're going to copy it, okay? And then you're going to send it. And because it's long, sometimes they give you like a copy link, but I see that maybe because so they actually this is not public right now because I didn't verify again. So you'll see it stayed my old, company, but my reviews is still there, and I'm going to eventually, when I get a chance, again, we got to do it. We will make it a priority to make it live again, because again, people will look at it, and I will include more stuff as me as the manager. But remember, we click on that long link, right? So let's say we were to compose an email. I want you to, and I know most people do know, but I want you to use a hyperlink and just say, please. Obviously, you're going to write more things like, hey, it was a joy to work with you. If you could, be kind enough to write a review. Um, Remember Glenn Baker had said that he had ChatGPT or whatever he had write the review and copy it and paste it and just say, if you don't have time, you can copy and paste it. I told somebody to do that and they're like, that's like so ballsy. But if I was the client and I didn't want to like come up with something to write about my, realtor, but I really like my realtor, then I might just copy it and paste it, So he kind of did the work for us. But please, review me, right? But you're gonna write something nice, but just for time's sake. So what you're gonna do right here on this link, it says insert link, and paste. I know you guys know it, but just in case you do, say Google review. And then if you apply. So that whole link isn't messy, or else it would look like this. Okay. So do this. And I actually save this as my draft, right? And so I'm not having to write this whole thing over and over again. I just go to my draft, I copy, and then I just create a new email. So it's always there and you're always ready, right? And some people have it on their email signature, but again, if I'm not having like a really good connection with this client, and I actually hate working with this client, I'm not going to ask that person for a Google review. Okay. But I'm sorry I wasn't able to show exactly how to do it. But only tip is that when you put the company address on there and they ask you, is this you? Just say no, because what ended up happening with a lot of agents when we did that, they sometimes actually take over the company Google page. So if you just say no and use the same address as, like, your office, it just creates another profile. And you don't want to do that, because then they're going to think, oh, you are, just the company, not you, so that it could get very confusing. So that's the only thing I would, be careful about. Okay.